Good evening, viewers. It's been a while. It has. Today is May 7th, 2015. I'm your host, Marcus Diaz. This is kind of an unofficial Ghost Train episode. Um, Not really anything specific. We're not really going to talk about too many things. One thing for sure I'm going to talk about is the next couple days coming up in chasing. Definitely look like some of the bigger days we've had in a very, very long time. But the last episode we did was back on April 21st, which that's quite a long time in terms of doing a weekly show. So let me tell you what's been going on. So my old roommates moved out. They got a place of their own. I have this big, massive house to myself for a while, so that was kind of cool. But I did get another roommate to come in, so now it's just two of us here. And I've been without internet. My internet was actually tied with my old roommate when he moved out, so did the internet. Excuse me. I've had a couple of these, so just remember that. Um, so yeah, I got internet finally today. It's taken this long. It's taken 2 weeks to get internet finally. But here I am, new room. I decided to move the whole setup upstairs, so I'm actually staring at a 55-inch big screen TV about 4 feet from me, and it's kind of unnerving because I could see every little thing on my face. That makes me kind of So yeah, whatever. Um, so what's been going on really is just kind of the switch over. I've been doing quite a bit of chasing. The last month was amazing for me. I don't think I've had quite an active April since 2010, and even then, 2010 I think only had like three, maybe four chase days total. Three of them being good. I've had, I believe, seven, maybe eight chase days in April total, and probably five of those came out to be tornado days. Different parts of the plains. I hit Kansas twice, scored in Kansas twice. Did I score in Kansas twice? I went April 24th. I don't remember. I did go to Kansas twice. No, I didn't score twice. I scored Kansas once. The other time I didn't score, but we did get on a good supercell. Real quick before I jump into everything, I do have the Q&A set up right here. I don't know where it's at on your stream. There's a Q&A. If you have a Gmail account, you can click on it. You can ask me questions. Since it's just me and I don't have a whole lot of material, I encourage you to ask me some questions while we're watching here. I know we're not going to have a big viewership, but, at least we can kind of get something rolling. Also, at 9 o'clock, which is an hour from now, which if you're watching this on the delay, it ain't going to matter. But the show's only going to be an hour because an hour from now, Steve Miller has invited everybody that's a member of StormTrack to come into the chat. We're going to be discussing forecasting for tomorrow as well as Saturday and perhaps Sunday, depends. But I encourage everybody that's watching, or I guess all three of you that are watching right now, I encourage you to go into StormTrack, and I'm sure you guys already are planning to anyway. I know I did this on short notice, so a lot of people aren't going to be able to watch this live or really understand what the hell's going on, but that's fine. The reason why I'm also doing solo is probably because everybody that would be a guest is either chasing at the moment or getting to their chase target. We have Friday and Saturday are big days. Today was also a chase day. In fact, right now, currently, there are tornadoes ongoing north of Dallas, Fort Worth, which has been a pretty bummer kind of deal because that's a pretty populated area. Hopefully nothing substantial or anything. Also yesterday, Wednesday, May 5th, was a big, somewhat of a tornado outbreak in Oklahoma and Kansas and even parts of Texas, I believe, got tornadoes, especially after dark. So it's been quite an active first week of May. Real quick, I see Drew sent me a question of what's the longest you've gone without a tornado? Okay. The longest I've gone without a tornado, let me think, because I've actually been fortunate enough to score a tornado every single year I've chased, except for my first. 2008 was my first year of chasing. I came out goose egg, mostly because A, I was very, very noobish. B, I was still going through college and working full time, so I really didn't have a lot of time to chase. I did get out on a couple of chases in May, but it was mostly very local stuff. Didn't really get anything. 2009, I did score it. Let's see. My first chase was, I think, May 5th or May 6th or May 5th of 2008. I don't remember. It was kind of a bust day. I almost got a tornado, but didn't. And then I didn't get my first tornado until May 15th, 2009. So if you want to count that as a whole year without a tornado. But 2009, at the end of 2009, June 10th was my last tornado in 09. And then my first in 2010 was April 20th. So after 2009, I didn't go a full year without getting a tornado. Or I didn't go a full year without getting a tornado. I don't know. You know what I mean? It hasn't. I've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to be able to get some tornadoes every year, even on some of the worst years, such as 2011. Well, I wouldn't say that's the worst year. Let's say 2013 and 14. Been able to get a few tornadoes, very pathetic-looking tornadoes, but nevertheless, the tornadoes did happen for me. So, you know, this year has been a phenomenal year. I'm up to 9 tornadoes. I mean, I know numbers really don't mean crap to anybody, but it does feel good to say I've already had 9 tornadoes. I had 7 of them in April, and that's one of the best starts I've had. 2010 was the only year that, well, I guess 2012, I'll probably have more tornadoes in April than any other year, and then 2010, and then this year. So, but yeah, definitely this year has already ranked number 3 on my all-time favorites and most successful years. So, yay me. So hopefully that answers your question, Drew. I don't know the exact days. I never took the time to sit down and count the days, but it's been, I've been able to get 1 a year. I know, I think you said in chat that, if I remember right, 3 years without a tornado, man, that's such a bummer. I don't know. I can't do that. And I really feel sorry for the guys that went goose egg last year. I think Shane went goose egg in 14, and a couple other guys went goose egg on a year. And that, I don't know, that's a long time between tornadoes. And, you know, those years, 2013 and 14, if you weren't on the right storms, were horrible years. And, you know, when you're out on those setups that look promising but don't do it, you almost feel like you deserve the tornado even more because you're out there trying to get something and it doesn't do it, and it's just such a bummer. So I feel sorry for those guys, but you know, all I can say is you know, we've been talking about this, we preach this on the show. Get out there, you know, chase as much as you can, chase whatever you can, and you'll get lucky. And you know, I had that experience. I'm gonna go quick recap on my chase on Tuesday, which was that the 5th? Okay, yeah, so the big outbreak was the 6th. I'm sorry. I said the 5th earlier. Big outbreak was the 6th. I say big outbreak. I think it was like 50 tornado reports. That's pretty substantial from what we've seen. But on the 5th, Tuesday, didn't look like a very big day. I was really crap talking the day to myself and to a few friends. It really didn't look promising. I think there was some early convection that happened. I haven't talked this much in a while, so my mouth gets kind of dry. Luckily, I got 3 more over there that are nice and full, so I'm good to go. Anyway, so I was crapping talking the day. Early convection looked like it was going to ruin the day, but I still had a little bit of hope, especially down south of Lubbock. So I kind of left Amarillo a little bit late. I think I left town about 3 p.m., which doesn't sound late, but it is. It takes about an hour and a half to get through Lubbock. So I was driving towards Lubbock, and of course, as I'm driving, a storm near Big Spring, Texas, which is probably another hour and a half south of Lubbock, produced a tornado. Very beautiful tornado. Brandon Sullivan, check him out on Twitter. He's got, or I'm sure his site has it too. But yeah, he had a really great picture of it. Tornado warning as I'm driving through south, and I'm just, you know, you get that feeling like, oh man, this better not be the day. This better not be the end of the day, I should say. So we get to Lubbock. I sit there, I use the restroom, and I'm looking at radar, and everything's already out of reach. I can't get to it. And I'm about to bust is what I'm thinking. I'm about to bust. It's 4 p.m. and I'm about to bust. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just keep an eye on it and just see what happens. So I saw an anvil just to the south of Lubbock, a little bitty storm on the radar. Didn't look like much at all. So I decided, screw it, I'll just go south of town. We'll check it out. So we did. We sat out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm talking about me and Jamie. She still chases with me quite a bit. We sit south of town. We're watching this pathetic storm, just hurting and struggling, trying to do something. Along the way, we found a lot of flooded roads. We pulled off in the middle of nowhere, just kind of hung around for a few minutes. We had a line of storms coming in from the west, and I'm thinking, okay, well, we might have to play Tail End Charlie on this one. So that's what we were going to do. We were going to play Tail End Charlie and probably score nothing and just go home disappointed. In fact, I was already making dinner plans in Lubbock with some friends there, some viewers of the show, because it was looking like I was going to end up going home early. So I'm following this line, and we get to Slayton, which is south of Lubbock, and we're going north. In the line, it almost looked like a storm popped up in front of the line, just in front of it, and it looked somewhat supercellular on radar. It was right over the radar, and it looked really good. Had a wall cloud, looked somewhat promising. I was getting a little excited. I'm like, okay, maybe we can salvage the day. So we have a wall cloud. We're watching it. The line keeps coming closer, and then I noticed the line starts pushing the shelf out. And no sooner than I noticed that, I noticed it's already engulfing that storm we're watching. I'm like, crap. I was like, well, maybe we're done. And so I was about 2 seconds away from just saying, screw it, I'm going home. Screw this storm, I'm going home. But off to my east, that little storm that we were first watching, that was struggling and struggling, the little storm that could, it finally started to grow a base, and we could actually see the updraft towers. They were still very, solid. So in the back of my head, nowhere in my head was I thinking I'm going to get a tornado, but I figured I'd keep up with it, no problem. And so we decided to keep ahead of the line, maybe try to get some structure shots of the shelf, and we get out ahead of it. And on the front of the structure, or on the front of the line, I noticed that there's a small funnel that develops. Just looks like it's maybe interacting, maybe something on the outflow boundary. I'm watching it for a few minutes. Like, okay, that's cool. And all right, well, let's just keep going east. And as I go east, I noticed this little storm that could started dumping a crap ton of precip, like a lot, like ridiculous amounts of precip. Like suddenly the base that we could see for miles and miles is suddenly shrank to about 2/3 of the size. And the storm is now to our southeast, so it's actually to the right of the road. So I'm a little, we'll keep going. And I didn't have a radar update for the longest time. And so finally, after I watched that little funnel, radar scope finally updated it, and I was able to loop it. And it went from this little tiny piece of crap precip core to just a fat blob of precip with an inflow notch. And I'm like, no way. You're freaking kidding me. We're out. Okay. So we keep going east. Storm still is to our south. We can still see through the rain to see the base. We come up to an area that just got hailed on. The hail looked pretty substantial, about 2-inch diameter, so not really substantial, about 10-inch size hail. And it was very spiky hail. So when I saw that, without even looking on radar and without even looking back at my storm, I was like, man, this updraft means some business right here. If we're getting this kind of hail from this storm that just started putting precip down about 15 minutes ago. So we pulled off, turned around, sat there and watched. We watched the base. There was some rotation in the base. Not much of a wall cloud at all. To be honest, there really wasn't a wall cloud from our vantage point. Of course, we're north of it, so we might have been shielded off by some of the base that may have been cut by the RFD. But we could still see the base very clearly. It was about 2 miles to our south. And after the hail had stopped, I got out of the car with the camera, my video camera, and began recording. And no sooner than I got my camera out, probably 2 minutes later, I started noticing the rotation really ramping up. And sure enough, off of this day that I was crap talking from the beginning, on a day that I thought I was going to be done by 4 p.m., on a day where I thought this line was going to just demolish everything and just ruin the day, a little needle tornado came down. And it came down really slowly, and finally it fully condensed. And I was like, oh, this feels so good. And there was a few other chasers out there that I saw. Chaser convergence was non-existent. There was probably maybe a total of 5 different chasers I saw that whole day. So the needle came down and it touched the ground, fully condensed. I could see where it's actually drilling the ground. So I got some zoomed in shots of that. And then it started to kind of rope out, and it was really kind of accelerating its forward speed. But then next to it was another funnel developing, and it was spinning rapidly too. And so I actually recorded the switch off from the rope out to the new one touching down. And so we had another tube, just a nice, really pretty stovepipe, sat in one spot for 10 minutes. I recorded all of it. I had to, most of it, I should say, because I had to get back in my car because we started getting dunked on with some rain pretty bad. But for the most part, I recorded its entire life, and bam, day made up. I'm not pissed anymore. I'm really happy. Excuse me. Wow, I was really happy. That's all I can say. I was happy that a crappy day could turn into something good. And here's the thing. The only people that were out there were people that were already committed to chase. There's people that I know in Lubbock, and you know who I'm talking about. There's maybe not the viewer, but the guy that missed out knows who I'm talking about. Anyway, you guys missed out because y'all were sitting in Lubbock, and you could have just drove out there. And I know there's some prior commitments that were involved and whatnot. But anyway, people in Lubbock that were chasers missed the tornado probably literally 20 miles to the east. And why? Because, and I don't blame them, because on radar, that storm looked like crap. And it looked like crap, and then 2 scans later, it looked awesome, and then probably another scan later, tornado warning. That storm literally went from just a little rinky-dink ass rain shower to tornado in probably 30 minutes. No joke. The only thing I could think of was a storm, as it was intensifying, maybe latched onto an outflow boundary, and it was far enough ahead of the line of storms that was pushing an outflow out that it actually produced. So, long story short, don't give up on a day until you know for sure the day's done. The fat lady never sang until I realized that the storm was, it looked like it was starting to gust down. Another story on that day though, on Tuesday, and this happened. This is the first time in 8 years of chasing that this has happened to me. So we just saw tornadoes, 2 of them. The last one finally roped out. We decided we needed to go south and then east again to keep up ahead of it because I didn't know if this was done or not. I mean, you never know. So we started to run through some really heavy rain, a little bit of hail, nothing big. And then we started going east on FM 40, which is south of Crosbyton. As I'm going east, the rain's heavy and it starts to lighten up. No big deal. Then we start getting a little bit of hail. I'm not thinking clearly at this point, but I'm thinking, well, we're probably in the Volt, and this is probably it. No big deal. And it was maybe golf ball at biggest, if that. So I keep driving, and probably about a mile later, I noticed that the precip's done for the most part, so no big deal. I have rotation probably about 2 miles ahead of me on the road, and I'm kind of creeping slow. I'm not going highway speeds. I'm going a little slow just in case it drops. And then out of nowhere, and it's funny because you'll see it in the video. I'll post the video up, soon enough. But you'll hear me. I see the storm, and I'm like, okay, we gotta haul balls to get ahead of this. And as soon as I said that, big old baseball-sized hail nailed my windshield and just punched a big dent in it. It didn't shatter. It didn't. Well, it shattered, but it didn't completely break apart. It sent a few shards in. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't need to haul balls anymore. And I came to a stop, and Jamie's like, holy shit, she's kind of freaking out, but she wasn't really freak out. But I'm looking around, and I'm stopped, and I'm looking around and see another baseball hit right next to me, and I'm like, yeah, if I sit here, I'm going to lose the back window too. So, okay, we're hauling balls again. So I booked it through that core. I got hit a couple more times on the body. I think I got 2 good dents on the roof now, a dent on the hood, and 1 on the trunk now. It was some pretty substantial hail. It was baseballs, though. But we got out of there as fast as we could. We came up to a group of firemen who were watching the storm, and I just pulled over. I kind of shook all the glass shards off my body because I didn't want to get cut. And I told them, I was like, dudes, there's baseball-sized hail like 3 miles down the road. And I showed them my windshield. And they were on the phone, I'm guessing, with dispatchers, so they reported that through. And but after that, we kind of just got out of the way of the storm. The road options were crap. So we just got out of the way, let the storm pass, and I don't know if it did anything else. By that time, the storm drops off the Cap Rock. Who knows what happened? I think for the most part, a lot of people just bailed on it. But well, that was it. That was another day. So first time in 8 years, I lose my windshield because I just blinked out. I didn't think about studying around me. I didn't even notice it was hailing. After the precip stopped, I didn't notice it was still hailing. And then just suddenly, just out of nowhere, just boom. Best part is I got that part on video, so that'll be in the video too. Okay, so April 21st was my last show. I went chasing, let's see, let me pull up my website because I want to remember what I'm chasing here. Okay, and I didn't even check the queue. Is there anything else in the Q&A? Nope. All right, I'm done answering your question, Drew. I have been done. Anyway. Okay, so April 21st was my last show. April 22nd was a chase through the Texas Panhandle. If you guys remember that, that was a storm that fired way on the Texas-New Mexico line and kind of rolled its way southeast, kind of wobbled, went through Hereford, went through Happy and Miss Toya and stuff like that. It was a pretty big high precip storm, but I was very disappointed on how that chase went, and I'm going to tell you why. Because that storm should have actually done something, but it just didn't. It was one of those deals where you expected it to drop a massive tornado somewhere, it never did. The environment was there for it. I think the low-level shear was really weak, but with the storm moving southeast right against that low-level jet, usually the storm-related felicities are up, so it should have done something, but it just didn't. By the way, you 5 viewers, you can keep asking me questions. I got 40 minutes to fill. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to actually go through the whole process of the forecast for the next 2 days because I really don't know too much. I know enough to get me out there. I know enough to get a target. I don't mind selling my targets, not selling, but I don't mind telling my target to the viewers because things will change and targets will change. So, and I'm just going to give a general area. But if you guys want an in-depth forecast, I really, really encourage you to get a Storm Track chat here in about 40 minutes or about 9 p.m. That's when we will be doing a forecast session, I should say, with a bunch of guys that know way more than I do. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, back to the storm. Yeah, I can show you guys a couple pictures, I suppose. Let me get my website up here. Well, you know what? This feels really unprofessional whenever I have to talk and crap. Yay, Kendra. Yes, I do have internet. Yay, me. Okay. So here's my website. This was the day, the April 22nd, out by Hereford. This was kind of the storm near Hereford. Very grungy looking. You know, looking at it now, the base was really not that solid and organized. This was the storm when it went through Happy. Oh, wait, maybe not. Okay, now what's going on? Why won't it load? You bitch. Okay, I guess not. Do I have any pictures that'll pull up now? Okay, well, there's that one at least. Tornado, very weak tornado, very brief tornado. This was, I believe, west of Lockney, Texas. This was actually a second supercell that popped up to the west of the main supercell. This was west near Lockney, funnel halfway to the ground, not much going on there. This was a supercell that we're looking at coming from the east, so we're looking west. And I really wish I was on the west side of this looking east, or at least southwest, so I can get some of that nice lit updraft. A lot of people got great structure shots of the storm. There's that tornado. Let's see if any of these other ones will load. Yeah, that's the same storm by Lockney. Really great structure. Looked really good. So that was kind of disappointing. I did come away with the tornado, which was really great consolation. But I was really disappointed that the first storm didn't do it. By the way, what the heck is this thing? Wait, maybe load, maybe. Okay, I saw that thing. It looked like a prairie dog that had sex with a squirrel or something. Probably happened. I think that's probably what happened. Looks like, yeah. I don't know. It was weird. That was our little buddy near Hereford. Hopefully he survived the storm. Okay, so April 22nd, that was said and done. April 24th, this was a warm front day. This was actually a split day on targets. You could either go south into DFW or you can go north into Kansas for the warm front. I chose the warm front. It seemed like a better play, at least somewhat of a for sure day, at least more for sure than the south target. It looked like it was going to struggle. This was a very interesting day for me. I've never really I don't chase too many warm fronts, especially being from Amarillo. We don't get these kind of setups. But I had a really, really good day. We ended up getting on the storm near Hayes. We got really in on it when we got off into the onto the dirt grids. We got this tornado right here, which was the first one. I don't think it was north of Victoria. That actually touched down about a mile behind us. So we kind of stopped to pull over. And I don't have pictures of it. I do have video. If you want to go see it, it's on my channel. Just look Marcus Diaz. I should have my own channel up and everything. As we were watching this one dissipate, and actually we were watching this one, let's see if this picture shows it, it may not. But we were watching this storm for quite a while, but we're watching this tornado until it dissipated, and I don't think I'm going to be able to pull this up. Okay, there we go. So, well, let me make it bigger. As this tornado was kind of roping out, kind of just wobbling around with the funnel, just really snaky funnel, and hopefully it'll pull it up. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm just bogging down the internet. Everyone's so excited to see me, I guess. There we go. So, nice ropey funnel. And this, there's way down here, it's hard to tell, but there's little black dots. Those are a group of cows, and they were going batshit because of that tornado. And sure enough, the tornado actually crested this hill and went down into this little valley and actually hit the cows. It was so cool. I mean, I feel sorry for the cows because that probably didn't feel good. But it hit the cows, and it was really cool because it hit them. They were going crazy. And then literally after we saw that happen, another tornado touched down literally 50 yards from us next to us in a field. We kind of got a little freaked out. What do we do? Because, you know, I never try to get that close. I do like to get close, but not that close. And then I kind of watched it. I'm like, okay, it's weak. It's fine. And then it kind of sat in one spot for a while. So I turned the car around, and we watched it for a little bit. Then I had a big gust of RFD, kind of the ghost train, if you will, came in, almost blew out my back window. So that's when we just got out of there. Luckily, no damage to the car. I got some good footage, which was cool, kind of a good thing. And then let's see, is this? Why don't it's not uploaded? We had some really amazing structure as well in terms of the shelf cloud. This was, let me screen share again so you guys can see this. Actually, you know what? Let me load it up first. Let me keep talking until I load it up. But we went southwest of Salina, I think Brookville, Kansas, which is southwest of Salina. We got this great shelf cloud. And I have a full panoramic, but I don't know why it's not uploaded. I just forgot to upload it. But anyway, there's a full 7-picture panoramic of this. It's a really big file, and I think that's probably why they wouldn't let me upload it. But yeah, this was a very, very pretty storm towards its death. Lots of striations and some really deep blues and turquoise colors that were in that storm. So it was really awesome to see that. Very great constellation of that. Stayed the night in Wichita. That was cool. And then the next chase I went on was another local chase. Nothing major. It was actually a cold core chase on April 26th. This was, I believe, the same day of the big supercell down around Duncan and Stephenville, some somewhat big tornadoes out there. And luckily, I think everyone came out of that okay. And that's okay. I'm going to talk about this real quick because before I forget. So that storm was really cool. I actually told some guys, the guys from Lubbock, you know, they were on the fence, and I'm like, I can't go, but you guys need to get to Abilene because that area looks amazing. And sure enough, they got out there, they saw the storm, they saw the hail. They ended up sending me a picture of like softball-sized hail in their hands. And I'm like, holy crap, that's awesome. So good guys, good for them, good for everyone that scored that day because that was a very difficult chase, I imagine. Very crappy terrain, a lot of trees, some hills. It's not the best scenery to go chasing in. I need another one. Hang on a sec. Yeah. So congrats to them. They did really well. And congrats to everyone that scored. Now, the biggest thing that came out of this, and this is, I'm going to try to touch on this briefly because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I really don't have a lot of time anyway. There was some drama that popped out of this day on April 26, 2015, okay? And I know exactly why this happened, and I don't know, but I don't know why it came out on this day, because this is something that you see every time there's a chase. In fact, if I wanted to right now, I could probably go to GR level 3, probably find a tornadic supercell, which I can. Let me do this, okay? Because this will be a lot easier. That way you can guys see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we got GR level 3. We're looking at the Fort Worth station. I've had this up all day. Of course, there's some massive tornadoes that just happened around north of Denton, I believe, and around between Decatur and Denton, around Flower Mound as well, I believe. Some pretty substantial tornadoes. You guys will probably see some footage of that by the time this is all said and done. So, well, they just dropped this damn tornado warning. There was a tornado warning on this storm right here by Jacksboro. And you see these little green dots? These are called chasers. These are chasers that actually, why does that guy have freaking 2 of them? These are chasers that actually want to have people know where they're at. Now, this is for several reasons. Some of it is for news purposes. Some of these people chase for news stations. Some of them are for kind of showy off purposes, like telling everybody, hey, look for my icon. I'm going to be right here. Streaming purposes, if you stream, usually you end up on this thing. As a dog, you'll end up as one of these little cameras right here, which there's a couple streamers out here. By the way, this supercell right here going towards Gainesville, I believe, was dropping tornadoes. You can see a lot of tornado reports in this thing. So yeah, there's a lot of chasers. And you can see right now, Dallas, Fort Worth here. Let me kind of do this so you can kind of see them a little better. You can see all the little green dots and the red dots and the yellow dots, and all these little dots are chasers that choose to run spotter network and actually show everyone where they're at. So the biggest controversy that came was the storms that were down by Stephenville in that area, which is actually not too far from here. I think it's in this little area down here. I'm not going to get to. There's Stephenville. There's little towns here and there. And this is where a lot of tornadoes happen on that day, on April 26th. Well, there was a couple of guys, and I'm not going to name names because first off, I don't remember all the names. But okay, I don't remember all the names. But they're little green dots. They're little dots that represent where they're located. We're pretty much in an area of the storm that would be known as a very dangerous area to be in, the bear's cage. Okay, and it's funny because this happens a lot. There's a lot of people that their little green dots are in the bear's cage. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you guys something because I think you guys might like this. Because this is something that happened to me on April 16th, which was the tornado in the Panhandle. Okay, so you see this little cross here. I'm gonna see if I can get this to show. Okay, so you see that little crosshair right there? This is actually a screenshot I had. And you can see there's green colors up here, and down there there's red. And we all know that that means, yes, thank you, Kendra, for reminding me. Those aren't all chasers. Those are also spotters. So they're not all chasers. But you see this little crosshair? That's where I was at. And the little green and red is representing where the tornado will possibly be or likely is. So at first glance, you're thinking, man, you're too close. That's way too close to that. Why would you get that close? Well, here's the thing. The radar portion of that, the radar portion of, the red and greens don't exactly show exactly where the tornado is. All it is and especially that one, because you're at some distance to the radar is going to be shooting a little bit higher up on the storm, so it's actually measuring maybe not mid-levels, but just below the mid-levels and the low levels, kind of the above the base of the storm. And then all that thing was measuring was this big mesocyclone that was sitting in that storm. The tornadoes are not always where the red and green touch. Not always. Sometimes they are, but not always. And especially if it's closer to the radar, there's probably a good chance that it is. But these storms that are further away from the radar, that's not an exact replication of where the tornado is. So, and then also the crosshairs where I'm at, that's running off a GPS satellite that's trying to punch through this massive storm that I'm in and trying to get my signal. So it's not exactly correct. It's probably off by several hundred yards. Well, what does that mean? What are you trying to get at? Okay. So on April 26th, there was a lot of chasers that were just like that. They were really close to a circulation, very strong circulation according to radar. And there were people on Storm Track. In fact, there's a huge thread on it that started from that were absolutely going crazy because they think the title of the thread is the best part, really, because it was like a chaser's rant. Have we learned nothing from El Reno? And Adam Lucio said it best. No, we didn't learn nothing from El Reno. What do we have to learn from El Reno? We know tornadoes can, do weird things and do what the hell they want. They can grow however big they want to. They'll grow as big as their environment will let them grow. And chasers need to understand that. And chasers and spotters, whoever has a stupid icon, need to understand that. That if you don't know that a tornado can do what El Reno did, then you probably shouldn't be chasing. Or at least you can be chasing, but don't get anywhere close to the tornado. And by close, I mean get 5 miles away from it, because then you're somewhat guaranteed of at least not getting hit with a big satellite. So, no, there was nothing to be learned from El Reno except that it was more of a slap of reality. It just, that Mother Nature just came in and bitch slapped everybody in the chaser community, and just to let everybody know that she can do whatever the hell she wants, and we need to respect that. Fair enough. I mean, I'll be the first to say I was really sad when, Twistix took a hit, and, I heard word of everyone else getting hit. It's a sad deal, but of course, as I'm sure everyone's regurgitated, they knew that they were taking those dangers every time you step out the door, and everyone should understand that. Anyway, I tried not to, say thoughts that might get me in trouble. I'm not quite Shane Adams status where I absolutely don't give a shit about everybody what they say. There are still some people in the community that I respect, that I hope that they don't disrespect me for my opinions. And if you do, fuck you anyway. But anyway, so it really irked me that people were trying to bash a couple of chasers because their little green dots were really close to this really big, this really big couplet. It's like if you're not there, in that car with that chaser, then you probably don't have a right to bitch about where they're at on the storm. They know more about the storm than you do at your home on your armchair. They have the eyes on the ground level. They can see what that storm is doing. And the funny thing is this wasn't just the chasers that were being chastised were not like some newbie chasers or some asshole chasers. This was, the one chaser that was being, hounded on, mostly was a chaser that has plenty of years experience. In fact, I think he's the same as I do, 8 years experience. Ben Holcomb, okay, I'm just going to say Ben Holcomb was getting shit talked on him because he was so close to this couplet. And, he pretty much said, I can see the storm way better than you can right now, and I wasn't in any immediate danger. As a matter of fact, a lot of chasers came up and said that too, that were on that storm, kind of in the same area. They're like, yeah, the thing wasn't really producing at the time, and if it was, we would be able to see it. But, this sparked off another controversy about chasers getting too close or putting out a bad image, and we're going to ruin chasing as if it's already ruined enough. And, we need to be taking, we need to take responsibility of where we are and try not to, I don't know. To me, it just sounded like static. It sounded like, no offense to anyone that took that side, but to me, it just sounded like a bunch of old people trying to tell young people what to do, very much like a stupid skater TV show or something, kind of the whole get off the damn lawn kind of stupid crap. So, I mean, honestly, the bottom line is, if the way I chase, if the way Ben chases, if the way any other chaser chases doesn't affect you directly, whether or not you're sitting on the couch or in your armchair watching GR Level 3 or on the storm or anything, if it doesn't affect you, then you probably shouldn't give a crap about what they're doing. To be honest, you can just let them drive into the tornado. Let them go get themselves hurt or killed. Fine, whatever. It doesn't affect you. Okay? Now, the alternate, the rebuttal of that is, people believe that if more chasers get killed, then it's going to bring out legislation against chasing. First off, it's going to be really, really hard for any sort of legislation to make a chasing ban or to ban chasers, whatever. And if for whatever reason that day does come, which I 99.9% believe it won't, although there's that little bit of doubt because our government's that crazy. If that day does come, then you just got to go incognito. You know, take your antennas down, take your light bars off. As much as you love your light bars and have them attached at your hip, get them surgically removed from your hip, or I should say your butt. Get those light bars surgically removed from your butt. Take all your stickers off. I mean, whatever you got to do. I mean, leave a couple antennas on for your boosters, whatever. CB radio, keep those on, but just go incognito. And for the most part, people don't bother you. As a matter of fact, if anyone's ever seen my car, it has zero evidence that I'm a chaser aside from all the hell dents. But even then, I just look like a cheap bastard that don't want to get their car fixed, whatever. So just go incognito. It's not hard. You can live without all of your stickers and your Spotter Network stickers and all of your media stickers. No offense to anyone that does that, and blah, 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 blah. So all I can say is just let everyone be. Let everyone chase the way they want to chase. If it's affecting you directly, if for some reason this is affecting you, you know, I understand if this is going to be I know this is going to be a topic. We'll try to do a show on Sunday. I don't know if we can do it. I know this will be a topic. Is chaser convergence, because you know, the coming setup is on a Saturday after all the finals at all the colleges. So every stupid person and everyone and their uncle and their grandma and their dog and their neighbors and blah, blah, blah are all going to be chasing. So I understand chaser convergence is going to piss you off, and that does affect the way you chase, especially if you got morons that aren't driving off the road, aka Jesse Post. Yeah, I'm going to call him out because fuck that guy. Twice. I've seen him twice on a chase where he doesn't pull off the road completely. I actually got him on video on here, on this camera, on April 16th on a 2-lane road that had, it only had a 6-inch shoulder, I admit, or maybe like a foot of a shoulder. But it was dry. It had not rained out there yet. And he was parked in the lane, all the way in the lane, just there, sitting there. Hazards on. That asshole was just, man, he was ruining it. Whatever. So I understand if that happens. If you got guys that aren't getting all the way off the road, that's going to affect your chasing, and I understand you're going to be pissed off about that. So, but if it doesn't, I mean, if you're one of those guys that sits a mile or two away from the tornado and watch everything kind of unfold at a safe distance, it shouldn't matter what anybody that's anywhere closer. It shouldn't matter what Base Hunters is doing, what Reed's doing, what Sean Case is doing, what Ben Holcomb's doing, what anybody's doing. You know, if they're a quarter of a mile from that thing, it doesn't matter. That location where they're at doesn't affect you over here whatsoever. So you shouldn't give a shit about how they're chasing. But, you know, this is kind of one of those two-sided coins, because I understand if chasers get killed, if they get hurt, it puts a bad image on us, whatever. You know what? There's skydivers that do die every now and then. There's base jumpers that do die every now and then. Does it really hurt their hobby? No. I mean, maybe it just increases their safety standards, but hey, whatever. Just, you know, if you want to be safe, that's fine. Now, you know, we've talked about that it is very, very possible to be safe while chasing, but you know, if you chase correctly, no matter how you do it, you can be 5 miles away, you can be 50 feet away. If you chase correctly, then the most dangerous part of your chase is going to be going to and from your target. Driving on the road, you know, just accidents. Wildlife, you know, a blowout, or just a vehicle accident, you know, all of those will be more dangerous about chasing than the actual storms themselves. If you get in a position where, like, you know, let's just go back to Reno. If you get in that kind of position, you've made a mistake somewhere. You basically haven't respected the storm and its full potential, especially on a day like El Reno where, you know, maybe it wasn't thought of, but now that you think about it, don't you think that environment, if you remember that environment, it was very capable of producing a 2.6 mile wide, you know, EF5, not a 3, it was a 5. EF5 wedge. I mean, it was very capable of doing that. And you know what? It's really a sad deal. It is still a sad deal that we lost Tim, Paul, and Carl, and some other chasers and other people. But at the same time, you have to respect your environment that you're in. You got to respect the weather. Respect the weather. That says respect, by the way. It's just hard to read. You got to respect the weather, or else it's going to come back and bitch slap you, which it did on May 31st, 2013. Anyway, that's my rant. There's a whole thread on Storm Track. Go read it. There's a lot of good points on there from both sides of the coin. It's very informative, and there's a lot of good people that go in there, and they write some really big detailed descriptions and big. It's a lot of reading to do, but it's very much worth it. Okay, I got about 15 minutes here. My Q&A is kind of filled up. Let's see. Andy in Chaser Chat requests comment on Reed Timmer calling every tornado large, monster, violent, or wedge. Okay. So I never had a problem with Reed whatsoever. Maybe at one point I was a little envious, and I think I still am. I'm a little bit envious because, Reed's really worked hard, very hard, for several years, for over a dozen years. He's worked very hard to get in the position he is right now. And right now he's kind of living a dream that a lot of other chasers wish they could, kind of live, which is to chase and get paid for it and chase whatever they want, whenever they want. I'd love to do that. I really would. I'd love to get paid to chase. I would at least love to not have to worry about the money, really, and not have to worry about answering to anybody so I can chase whatever I want. But at the point I'm at in my life, that's just not possible. I have to have an 8-to-5 job and get paid like everybody else and pay bills like everybody else and budget my money like everybody else. So, but anyway, Reed's worked really hard to get where he's at, and I've never had a problem with him. I've always respected him. He does get close, but he's got the equipment to do it. He's got the experience and the knowledge to do it. And he does like to call every damn tornado big, violent monster. I don't remember what video it was, but it was just this year. He had a video of one of his chases where they're watching a storm, and it's kind of rotating. It doesn't look that great, but he keeps saying, "Oh, it's going to drop a big one. It's going to drop a big one. It's going to drop a big one." And I'm just like, no, it's not. It really isn't, because it doesn't look that great. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? He's just so excited. He's so excited to be there. He's one of those guys that just, he can finally say that he loves his job, which he does. And, good for him. I feel just as excited to chase. I just don't express it like he does. He really goes all out and expresses it quite a bit. So good for him. I'm not going to hate the guy because he screams at every tornado's wedge. I'm not going to hate him because every single setup that rolls through OKC is potential for strong, violent tornadoes for the Metro. He gets a little hyper. He gets a little pumped. But at the same time, that's just his passion within him kind of coming out. That's his inner flame of passion just coming out and vocally. And that's just how he is. He's just really a vocal guy. He's really, really excited to be there every single time. So good for him. I don't have problems with Reed. I know there's some people that get a little annoyed by him, but hey, you know what? If he wants to jump up and down, scream and yell and holler at every tornado and call it a wedge, and in the end it means that he's going to get paid a bunch of money for him, then mad props to him because he figured out how to do it. And yeah, go him. So let's see. Not much else in the questions. Kendra sent me a lot of stuff. Arm chasers are the best. You know what? I'll tell you what. Arm chasers are really good because they can see everything that's going on. Usually when I'm chasing, I'm focused on my storm. I rarely focus on anything else unless my storm is looking like crap and I got to look for something else to do. Then I'm definitely going to be looking at it. Sorry. So, yeah, I mean, cool. Arm chasers are pretty good because they have a bit of an advantage for us. So, and sure, send me stickers, Kendra. I'll put them on, maybe not my car, maybe my car. I don't know. I might put them on my car. I'll definitely put them on my toolbox though at work. All right. So I got about 10 minutes. Let me talk about the next couple days. So Friday looks big, guys. It looks pretty big. Not as big as Saturday, but it still looks pretty substantial. Just to kind of break it down real quick, I'm going to screen share. Well, you know what? I don't need screen share. Everyone that's watching the show knows exactly what SBC did. So SBC issued moderate risk for Friday and Saturday. It looks like pretty big days. Kind of a back-to-back, same area type of day, perhaps a little more eastern when it comes to tomorrow, which is Friday, May 8th. Big moderate risk out for the eastern panhandle, western half of Oklahoma, and south central Kansas, and the slight risk goes all the way from like Denver to central Missouri, all the way down through DFW, all the way down to the Mexican border. Dry line looks to set up over the panhandle, which is very good for May. Anytime you get moisture in May and some good shear, you're bound to have a great day, and I think that's what's going to happen. I know there's a lot of people that have been kind of nitpicky. They're really nitpicking the details on tomorrow and Saturday. You know, there's a few concerns about recovery right now, as in the area of interest, I guess, in western Oklahoma and the Panhandle. A little bit questionable moisture return. I'm not too worried about it. My METARs just disappeared from GR level 3, but before I looked, there were, I believe, like 70-degree dew points around Waco and over towards like Mason and out to Junction. Junction right now is 79/68. So there's some really juicy air in Central Texas right now. And yes, there is an MCS ongoing that will be kind of going through that area. But there was 70s up that far, and then on the coast of Texas, you had mid-70s. And I don't think that MCS or that outflow that will be going with it will be making it that far. It does look like the source region will be relatively untapped. Probably have good mid-60s to 70-degree dew points tomorrow on the dry line. And anytime you have that on the panhandle, it's just going to be an awesome day. And don't focus on the stupid camera. Sorry, I'm trying to figure something. I didn't want you to see my blinds. That's why I have that there. Anyway, you can look at my blurry face. So, big low out to the west of this area. It'll be kind of rotating off through Arizona tomorrow, injecting out some energy. Ventilation winds don't seem to be a problem. Shear does not seem to be a problem. Great low level jet tomorrow, especially around 0C. The threat's there for some substantial, perhaps strong to violent tornadoes, especially I'm thinking around western Oklahoma up into northwest Oklahoma, possibly southwest Kansas, closer to the surface low. My target probably will be around I-40, probably around Shamrock will be my target initially. It's literally less than an hour from Amarillo, and it's just a straight shot there. B, there's good north-south routes out of there too. You know, there's some there was some question about initiation because I think a lot of people thought that this current MCS will kind of ruin the day with the cold pool, but I don't see that happening. I mean, it is a pretty big MCS, and I'm looking at radar right now. I mean, it's an MCS and it's there, but I don't think it's big enough in terms of coverage that it's just going to completely wipe out the moisture. I think we'll have a good day. Eastern Panhandle over to western Oklahoma, up into the Oklahoma Panhandle. So I know there's going to be a lot of people out. There's a lot of people that are making the trek or are already here. Good luck to everybody. It's going to be quite a day, I think. I think there's going to be several tornado reports. Okay, screw the blinds because I don't like looking at my stupid face. Tornado reports probably likely tomorrow, especially Eastern Panhandle and Western Oklahoma. There just seems to be, that area seems to be pretty concentrated in terms of that. So Real quick, I do want to show everyone something. The SIPS analogs, which kind of takes the setup on the NAM right now as of 12Z. It takes the setup and compares it to some other big days in the past. And if you can see the top score there, number one analog as of 12Z was June 8th, 1995. And what happened on June 8th, 1995 U.S.? Large, violent tornadoes in the eastern Texas Panhandle, and I believe also in the Oklahoma Panhandle as well. It was quite an outbreak. It's a very famous outbreak for us locally here in the Panhandle because there just really hasn't been a day since then like that. There's been quite a few tornadoes out there, and May 15th may have been another one, in March 28th of 07. We're a couple big days. Some other big days that were on the list here. Right here, about halfway down, you have April 22nd, 2010, which was a lot of tornadoes in the eastern Panhandle. Let me see. I think at the very bottom, no, right here, no, I don't see it anymore. It did have, I believe, March 28th, 07 was on here, I think last time, but it wasn't this time. Right here, May 4th, 2007. That, of course, was the day of the Arnett tornado. I believe it was. But also, it was the night of the Greensburg tornado. Very possible. I mean, there's no telling exactly what's going to happen, but that's definitely a possibility. If you go to the impact guidance, this will kind of show us, it'll take all 15 of those days and tell us how the tornado reports went. And as you can see, really big in the Panhandle, and especially northwest Oklahoma. They really got hammered, as well as south central Kansas. Lots of tornado reports. So this isn't something you completely go off of. You don't say, oh, well, it's going to do this because it looked like this day. No, because the mesoscale features are a little bit different. They're going to definitely play a role. But this is a good idea of what kind of day you can expect. You can expect tornadoes, especially in these highly concentrated areas, which tomorrow, northwest Oklahoma, eastern Panhandle, and maybe even a little bit further south, that seems to be the biggest concentration of tornadoes. There's even a lot of tornadoes up here in Colorado, especially when you hug the low, like, that surface low will be right in here probably tomorrow in this area, southeast Colorado. And usually when you get those storms kind of wrapping around, you can get some tornadoes up there quite a bit. So, for those guys in Colorado that don't want to mess with the horse tomorrow, it might be worth playing closer to home and catching some tornadoes out there. So, excuse me. So, I don't know why I did that, because I was going to show you guys. Well, okay, so that's, okay, I got 2 minutes. Shit. Okay, so, yeah, that's Friday. Saturday just looks like an amplified version. The trough finally ejects over the dry line. You're looking at mid-60s to 70 dew points. It's gonna be big. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Some of these soundings that I've been seeing, I think I saw a sounding earlier from Watauga, Oklahoma. Oh man, dude! I've never seen a sounding that big. It's just so gnarly. So Saturday looks like a really, really, really busy day for everybody. There's a lot of days, I think, that we talk about that are just big days and big, nasty days that'll probably do something. But the reality is Saturday definitely has a potential for a major outbreak. And, I think the residents of that area, you gotta pay attention. You gotta be weather savvy. You're gonna need to be weather savvy Saturday. I hope everybody makes it home. This is one of those days where not only are we going to be worried about the people, but also, our own. So hopefully everybody makes it home Saturday. Hopefully everyone gets, or actually I should say Saturday, Sunday. Sunday's a big chase day. If you're gonna chase Eastern Oklahoma, kind of eastern Kansas. I think the draw line makes it out there. So hopefully you guys look, everyone here. Okay, here's my rules. Okay, because I'm Sunday. We might do a show Sunday. We may not because Sunday's gonna be Chase Day. Okay, everybody, because it's 9 o'clock. I need to get off here. Everybody, please be safe on these next 3 days. Don't do anything too stupid. Don't do anything daring. Remember, it's been raining a shit ton in this area and Eastern Panhandle and Western Oklahoma. Everywhere's gotten a lot of rain, so try not to get stuck in mud. Try not to brave a storm. To try to get stuck in mud. You don't want this weekend to be your last weekend. You want to keep chasing, so you might have to sacrifice a few things. You might have to sacrifice a few shots to come home alive. But come on, come home alive, so you can be on my stupid show. So I can talk shit to you, or else I'm going to be talking about you, being hit. Yeah, everyone just make it home. But also everyone have a career day. I hope everybody has a career day this weekend. I hope everyone just gets the best looking freaking monster, fat cone or big fat stovepipe tornado, just the biggest thing you can get. So I will keep everybody in touch when the next episode should be. It'll probably be next week. I think after this setup, I think we'll be kind of having a short lull in the weather so we can kind of get everyone grouped together and just have a great day and have a great show again and have a lot of stuff to show for it. So right now, if you're watching live, all 6 of you, head over to StormTrack. We're going to be doing some forecast discussion. The Zero Z NAM's coming out, so I think everyone's kind of eagerly anticipating what's going to happen. So hopefully everyone joins us, and hopefully everyone has a great day. So have a good night, and thanks for watching, and we'll be back again shortly. Peace.